Hey, what's up, guys and gals? It's me, your old buddy, Mr. Moose, back in the garage and back with a little more Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. All right, so today is day 2 of our Dodge Charger Daytona build, aka the Tempest Magnum, as it's listed in game. But today you're going to notice the car has changed just a little bit. Instead of that nice, decent shape barn find that we had, I got a big old hunking piece of junk now. Here's what happened. I actually recorded today's video, and I recorded it yesterday, and when I did, I forgot to put the audio into it. So when I went to look at the playback, I realized that there was no commentary at all, which might make some of you guys happy, but there was also no game audio in it. So it was just video, and that wouldn't work out. So I had to scramble to figure out how I was going to fix it. And basically, my option was to go to a junkyard and find another one. So last night during the live stream, we went and picked this one, which was no easy task either. The game gods were against me. I had to go to the junkyard like 20 times in order to find this car. So I got it, went ahead and got body panels hung back on it, so it was somewhat of a representation of what we had before with the other Tempest, and then also went and built the undercarriage. So as the car sits now, it's somewhat to the state of what we had before with our barn find. So while it's not the same car, the build in essence is at the same point, and I guess that's what we're here for. So hopefully you guys aren't too offended by the fact that the barn find went away, but I will show it to you at the very end of the video. I'll show you what the barn find, how it turned out, and what I did with it. But anyways, we need to build a motor to go into this guy. Now, instead of using the junker motor that was in here, I had a V8 overhead that came out of another barn find, and that's what we're going to use for a motor, because I think that's more of a representation of what the motor was that I took out of this one. So we're going to go ahead and grab that motor and put it here on the mount, and we should be ready to go. So yeah, I mean, this is about the exact same motor that we had. Everything was on the top of this one. On the one that I took out, it had, actually I think it is the exact representation of it, because the other one only had one exhaust manifold. It was missing the oil pan, and I think it had, no, maybe it didn't have all the valve covers. So this one might be the exact same engine build. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started on it today. So you know, people may think I went a little overboard with trying to replicate what was there before, but I don't know. As a creator, I kind of want things to be the way they were and have consistency. So a lot of you will probably say, well, it doesn't matter, a car build is a car build, just build the car, which I have that philosophy as well to an extent, but I like for, you know, to see what it was like had we have had the exact same duplicate, you know, because building a junker, you're going to have a lot more wasted parts than you would have building a barn find, because the barn find is going to fix up a lot easier, and you wouldn't have had as many parts just damaged and have to purchase. So hopefully we get a decent build out of this, and we can move forward. So, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to say thanks to you guys as well, because the support on this series has been unbelievably good. When I did car mechanic videos in 15, hardly anybody watched them. And really, so I only did a few videos on it, but I'm pretty much committed to this game this time. I like the game. I'm having fun doing it. As I've said, I want to do each of the cars, even the Corvette C4. You know, I want to do all the cars, want to do all the builds, and then I also want to do the mods. As folks start putting more mods into the game, I want to do that. So at the status of recording this now, when you guys watched yesterday's video, I did show you that 1932 Ford that was in the game during patch 1.2.6. That's been removed. It's no longer in the game. It was just exactly what I told you. The developers were trying to help out the guy doing the mod resolve a couple of issues, so they had been working on it with him, and for some reason they accidentally left it in the game. So if you haven't noticed already, if you purchased that particular automobile and put it in your garage, there were no parts available for it, so you couldn't really work on it. And now the next time you load your game up, the car will be gone. It will list in your garage as an unnamed car, and then when you actually go to the garage and exit out of the garage, the list will update and the car will no longer be there, but it will not corrupt your game save. So if you did purchase it, don't worry about your game save getting corrupted. I didn't have any issues with it. I left it in there on purpose, but I did make a backup of the game just in case. Of course, unfortunately, I got rid of the backup before I realized what I had done and the mistake that I had made. It happens. Usually, though, most of the games I play have an alternate save, like that you can jump back to if you make a mistake like that. But this one doesn't have anything but the current game save. So if you do have any kind of problem or anything, it's gone, which again, we'll go back to my previous statement a while back there. Back up your profile every once in a while. You're going to find that under C:users, whatever your name is. It'll be under low local, and it'll be in the red dot folder for low local, and it'll be your main profile. The profiles are listed in order beginning at 0. So profile 0 will be the first profile you ever create. If you have multiple profiles, then they will go up in number from there. So your main profile, if you've only created one, it will be profile 0. Go in there and copy that, put it somewhere safe if you want to have a backup. I would advise that. Especially if you do recordings like I do. I can't believe I did that yesterday. So silly. It was a pretty decent video. We talked about a lot of stuff in there. I'll try to remember everything I talked about and cover it with you guys. There were some things about the game that I covered. One of which was related to the music that plays in the background when I'm doing the videos. A lot of people have asked, what am I listening to? And all I have running is the rock station that is in the game. If I were to go over to the radio and turn the rock station on, it's the audio from it, only I'm not playing it through the game, I'm playing it through VLC player. And the reason I do that is that way when I go to like the junkyard or auction house or wherever I may go, barn finds, the garage, the audio keeps playing in the background. If I play it through the game with the radio, the only time the audio is on is when I'm in the shop. So I use VLC player to do that. So, all right, get that engine block off of there, and we are good to go. So let's go over here to the table and see if we can't repair it up and get as much goodness out of this car as possible. All right, come on now, repair up, baby. I haven't really looked. I'm taking a look now, though. You're still not getting charged to repair parts, which I still think they need to fix that. You should get, you should have to pay a little bit for repairing them. All right, so let's look at our inventory, sort out our parts, and see what's what. There we go. We are on version 1.2.7 now. A couple of updates have happened, but nothing really major has changed on the game. Other than they did, in today's update, they did add the bonus track in. I haven't even taken a look at it. I will do that later on, but I want to get the build done. so let's take a look at what we got here. As always, I'll replace the water pump pulley, but the water pump is good. We'll replace all of the valve rods. We're going to need a new timing chain cover. Timing chain, of course, we will need. Serpentine belts. The air filter cover is good. We need one rod cap. We're going to need all new rocker arms. Radiator's good. Power steering pump's good. Pistons will be replaced regardless. Intake manifold is good. The button is good. I do need a new distributor. I need a new fuel filter. I need another exhaust manifold. I need the engine head cover A, which I may have in storage, so we'll go look for that real quick. Crankshaft pulley for a V8 overhead we're going to need. I need 2 crankshaft caps. I believe this engine only takes 2. Clip B, and of course cam gear, camshaft, and the rest of the stuff looks in pretty good shape. So let's go over here to inventory, and we'll do a quick search for V8 overhead valve, and we'll see what parts that we have that might fit the criteria of what we need before we go to the shop and start buying stuff. Somebody pointed out in my vet video, well, you know, there's a search down there at the bottom. Yeah, but when I recorded that vet video, it didn't work. It wasn't functioning, so it didn't make any, sense to use it. That's a performance part, so I can't use that. That's a performance part. I can't use that. That is not a performance part. I can use that, so that's good. A timing chain cover would be cool if we could find that, which we have it. Hey, we're in pretty good shape. And I have another exhaust manifold. So, and I have the engine head cover. Haha! Yahtzee! Pretty good shape there. All right. Let's go into the store then and start buying the things that we need. So, a lot of times I don't go to the menu, by the way, to go to the store. I'm hitting the T key on my keyboard so that I can just jump right in there. Sometimes I go to the menu, sometimes I don't. It just depends on how I do things for that particular time. All right, so we're going through engine parts this time. And I usually just start from the top and I work my way down because something I may see and it may remind me, oh yeah, you need that, and so that's the reason I do that. A lot of people don't like the way I do it, but it's how I go about it, and it works for me. You play the game how you want to play it. All right, 2 of those, and I need 1 of them. I believe it's only 3 cams, or 3 crankshaft caps. Could be wrong on that, but that's what I think it is. All right, we ended up finding an exhaust manifold, so we're good there. We do need the fuel filter. I've already replaced the fuel pump and the fuel tank, so that has been done on the car. I took the liberty of doing that at the end of the video the other night. Should need ignition wires, so we'll go ahead and grab those. See, that's one of those things I might not have thought about. An oil pan. I didn't even think about the oil pan. We do need the oil pan because that is gone. All right, so we need 8 rings. There we go. And we need 8 of these. There we go. Let's see. What else? 16 of these. There we go. I think I needed 1 of these. I'll grab a second one just in case. Need an air filter. What else? Serpentine belt for V8 overhead. There's the A side of it. And looking for the B. There we go. 8 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. And then we need what else? I'm gonna go ahead and get a starter. I'm pretty sure I need a starter. I'm gonna get the transmission stuff at the same time as well. Timing chain for the V8 overhead. We need that. We don't need to cover anymore, luckily. We need these. We need 16 of them. And everything else should be good. We just need the water pump pulley. There we go. And so that's that's the one thing about the way I do things. And people, again, they're always, you can use the shopping list and you can do that. I like to memorize everything because at the end of the day, when I'm done, after I've played through the game a few times, I now have memorized everything in the game. And then I know exactly what parts need to go on to the car and what need to go onto the engine. And, every once in a while I'll miss something, but for the most part, I've gotten to where I pretty much have got, especially with the V8 overhead, I've pretty much got the car memorized now. And I don't do that when I rely on a shopping list. If I rely on my memory, then I can get it down to where I pretty much know every part by heart now. And to me, that's makes the game easier to play too, because I can go, well, I go to here. If I keep having to make a shopping list, which takes a whole lot of time, I get bogged down in it. So all right, let's go. So what else is happening? Of course, yesterday I titled the video Charger Daytona, aka Tempest Magnum, and obviously I get a few people who say it's not a Charger Daytona, it's a Plymouth Superbird. And we had this discussion last night as well in the live stream about the car, and it could very well be the Superbird. When you look at it, it is the first thing that comes to mind when people see this car, that wing on the back of it, the most iconic car from the 1970s with this shape on it, with the wing and this look, is baby blue with STP on it, and it belonged to Richard Petty. And for the 1970s, most everybody saw that Plymouth Superbird, and that established that in their mind. But when you look at things like the body lines on it, and you actually, if you put a Charger right next to it in the game, from the game, they're almost they are the exact same car. And so really this is just the Charger with the fin on the back of it and the nose scoop on it. And so that's the reason I say it's the Charger Daytona. Now, if you wanted definitive proof on it, if they had modeled the car exactly the way the car was done in the 1960s, which the Charger Daytona came out in '69, it would have a vent right here on each of the fenders. There would be one on each side. And that vent would be your definitive proof as to which car it was, because if they modeled it the way the Charger is, the Charger starts like here and comes up to here. It's elongated, and it looks like a wind scoop. It almost looks like what would be on a supercharger. And then on the Superbird, it's more egg-shaped, more teardropped in the shape of it. So the two of them are completely different in there. And that would be your way of figuring out which was which. So I tend to think this one is the Charger Daytona, simply because it looks exactly like the Charger in game. And probably, since the Charger Daytona was featured a few years back in Fast and Furious, I would say that maybe that's another reason why they would go that route. You see it in the movie and think, oh man, got to put that in the game. So yeah, those are my two schools of thought on it. But I have seen a lot of people, building this car and painting it baby blue and making it look like Richard Petty's car. And even I myself, when I walk around the junkyard, when it didn't matter in the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, look, Superbird. Oh, look, Super. Oh, look, Roadrunner, which are, the Superbird is the Roadrunner with the wing and the front and design for NASCAR. So, So yeah, even myself, I'll point it out that way because I know that most people are going to look at it and that's the first image that's going to come to their mind. So you yourself can decide which version you want it to be. But I went with the Daytona on it, so I don't know if I'm right or wrong. All right, timing chain going in. We'll set our timing, and then we can start getting our rods in and getting our rocker arms in. But I try to do this step first. Sometimes I'll screw up and I'll put the heads on, but I like to go ahead and I like to do things as realistic as possible. And some people give me grief about that. Who cares? It's just a game. Well, I'm trying to be somewhat, share a little bit of knowledge that I have from real life with a generation that might not know anything about it, right? I mean, I was really fortunate. My father bought my first car for me and gave it to me and said, build it or you won't have a car to drive. And so, and I'd always worked with him on cars and rebuilt cars with him growing up. But when it came down to my first automobile that I was going to have as mine, he made me build it. And I'm very fortunate for that because I think everybody ought to learn how to service their own car. There's a sense of satisfaction that comes from doing it yourself. But there's also, monetarily, you're saving yourself a ton of money from taking something to the shop and getting charged 3 times the value of the parts just for somebody to do it. Mechanics go based on what the book tells them to charge, not based on how long it actually takes them to do it. If the book tells them it's going to take 3 hours, they're going to charge you for 3 hours, even if it took them 45 minutes. So being able to service a car yourself is a really cool thing. And a really good trait that everybody should try to learn how to do. I would say, every kid ought to get a small engine, like a mower, and try to build it. And get the knowledge of how an internal combustion engine works. Even though they may be antique soon, it's still a useful knowledge to know. So when I share about how the assembly process goes, that's all I'm trying to point out, because I don't think a lot of people know. A lot of people don't realize that on this engine, this whole section here is opened up. And what you would see when you see is a series of cuts in the block for the oil to drain back down through the crankshaft and back down into the oil pan. There's also some little circular holes all the way across here. There'll be 8 on each side, and that's where the valve lifters go in. The valve lifters are seated on top of the camshaft. The camshaft has a series of lobes on it, right? So if you put the head and the push rods in and then put the cam in, you wouldn't do that, because you would have to put the cam in first, then seat all the valve lifters, and then the push rods go down and they sit on the valve lifter, and that's what pushes the push rod up, which is what then pushes the rocker arm, which opens and closes the valve. So, that's a bit of knowledge that people may not know, and it's stuff I like to share because that's a part of an engine that a lot of kids may not know anything about. And I have a lot of kids that view these videos. Now, I also have a lot of adults who view the videos, and they're the ones who like to point out that I need to shut up and because they don't want to listen to me. Whatever. There's that stop button, and there's always go to another channel if I'm that annoying. But anyways, I try to share a little bit of knowledge. All right, so let's go ahead and put our rocker arms on. So last night in the live stream, we had a good time. The first part of the live stream is horrible because it's me suffering through the part of looking for this Tempest and then redoing the undercarriage of it. But the second part of the live stream is pretty good. We took a GT20 that I had upstairs in storage, and we actually built it, which had the i6 in it with a 6-pack of side-mounted carburetors on. That's just a sexy engine to build. It's hot. I will do a video on building it, but that was fun last night to build that motor. It's just when you get it all built out and those 3 carburetors are side mounted on it, you're just looking at it thinking, this thing is a beast, you know. That's archived up on Twitch if you want to watch it. I haven't been bringing the videos over to YouTube. One, because I've been having so many problems with YouTube, and to the point where I'm just really frustrated with YouTube and question how much of YouTube I really want to do, because they are just, every video I put up now, they're stripping the revenue out of it for a time, and then they come back and go, oh, we're wrong. Here, we'll put the video back for you, but by the way, you lost all that revenue. And you know, if I ask questions, they won't answer the questions that I ask. So, all right, I'm not going to put the rest of the carburetor on there yet. We're going to hold off on that, just because, again, trying to be somewhat realistic with this. All right, water pump going on. Put that on there. Go ahead and put the fuel filter on there. I laugh again at the fuel filter being mounted right there because it's just not right. Oh, I forgot to get the ignition coil. Oh, silly me. All right, put the button on, put the cap on, and then we'll go ahead and put that in. And we'll go ahead and put that in there. There we go. Let's go put the power steering pump on. And we'll go ahead and put the alternator on. Excellent. Put a belt in. Put another belt on. Put our plug wires on. And that should be pretty much to the point of where I want the engine to be. Put it in the car. Right? So let's go ahead and take it off the block. We'll go get our engine stand over here. Excuse me, engine crane. Lift. Is it actually engine jack, engine lift, something like that. And then we'll go ahead and put it in there. Yep, engine in. Get rid of that. And we'll go ahead and move that out of the way. Real quick, let's go ahead and get that ignition coil real quick. There we go. Buy that. All right. Put it back together. So this can go in there. We'll go ahead and put the fan on the front of it. And again, for those who are wondering why I said I wouldn't put this on until I put it in the car, if you had it on here when you're using the engine crane, you would crush all this. Because typically what happens when you use an engine crane, you usually mount to these bolts here on the intake manifold. You take them out, hook the chains up to that, and then you lift the engine out using it. And yeah, if that was on there, that would get crushed. The fan usually you don't want on there either, because if it smacks into something, it's going to get bent and destroyed as well. So, all right, radiator going in. I don't know if we got the brake servo repaired or not. We didn't. We need to go charge the battery real quick, and then we'll put the transmission in, all that good stuff. And we'll be in good shape. All right. So we'll just wait on the battery to get charged up. All right. So the brake servo is under brakes. By that. And we'll put it back into place. Oops, come on. There we go. Brake servo going in. And battery going back in as well. Excellent. All right, if I haven't missed anything, we should be able to put this thing up in the air, put the transmission in it. And while we're underneath it, we will put the drive shaft in. Let me grab the transmission out of here. I know I'll put it in here, so. And I didn't grab it when we were grabbing other parts. Yeah. All right, so transmission for this one thing under V8. Oh, come on, give me the typing. V8 overhead valve. There we go. There's the F series. Come on. There should be just a regular one there. There we go. All right. Come on, go all the way up. And in we go. All right, so we're gonna put the flywheel. Somebody commented on one of the video how all this works. They were new to cars and they didn't understand how this works. All right, so basically the flywheel is connected to the motor, and as the motor spins, the flywheel spins at a constant rate equal to the motor. So as you rev the motor up, the flywheel spins faster, okay? The clutch is the joint between your transmission and your engine. It has a set of spine or splines in here on the inside of your clutch plate that mount to a shaft inside the transmission. And as the clutch plate turns, the clutch turns the transmission, which is what drives the car, right? It has a series of gears in the transmission that reduce the torque or increase the torque to make the car go faster or slower, okay? Well, the way this works is the clutch is kept in a bind to the flywheel by the pressure plate. And the pressure plate has these sets of fingers right here in the center, and you have a clutch release bearing. And what happens is when you step on the clutch, this bearing moves out, which pulls the pressure plate away from the clutch, which then releases the bind so that the motor continues to spin, but the transmission sits idle. So the clutch, if you step on the clutch, it pulls the fingers away from the plate, so the plate is the clutch is no longer in a bind, so that the clutch can sit there and either be freely suspended and not touching the flywheel, or it can, spin at a different revolution from the engine. So that way you don't stall the engine out because the rear end's not moving, or because this is where the link between the transmission and the engine happens. When you let off the clutch, the fingers go back in, they put pressure against the clutch, which puts the clutch up against the flywheel, and then the flywheel starts transferring the energy from the motor into the clutch plate, and the clutch plate then makes the transmission turn, and that's when your car goes. So for that person who asked about that whole series, hopefully that explains it to you. What do you mean there's no start? Oh, it takes a V8 starter? I bought the wrong one. I did get let me double check, make sure I bought a drive shaft. All parts. I did buy a drive shaft. All right, so let's get the starter real quick, and we'll go from there. Starter V8. For some reason, I think it was just a regular starter, but I messed up. Hello, I'm lost. Give me directions to the front of the car. There it is. All right, so that goes in there. There we go. And we will do the drive shaft. Get that mounted in there. All right, so that is that. All right, so we need to do the exhaust now. Whoa, I didn't want to go to the front of the... I hate the camera when it does that crap. All right, so rear muffler comes off, middle muffler comes off, and then this piece here is front exhaust pipe V8 OHVA. And I need 2 of all of that. So we go into the exhaust section. Front exhaust point 08A. I need 2 of these, 2 middle mufflers, and 2 rear mufflers. Great. Got to get back into assembly mode. All right, so that one goes in. That one goes in. That one goes in. That one goes in. Let's travel up here a little bit so that we can get that one in. And that one in. All right, one last thing to do while we're underneath here, and that is put the oil filter in. Boom. And we'll put her down on the ground. And we jump up in here, put the oil in. And we should be pretty close to being done with this. Now we just got to do the body work. And get her all spiffed up. The body work is going to be the sore spot on this for me, because the other one, everything was in like really good condition, even though it was like looked rough. It was like 80-90% on a lot of the parts, so I didn't have to do that much work to it. But this one we're obviously going to have to do a ton of work on. Let me put the starter away, and anything that's green, let me put it away, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We're building this out. I also have a decent body panel in here that I want to grab out as well for the car, because one of the car panels is bad. I know that. So let me do a real search for Tempest. And like I've got a couple of pieces in here that are good. So here's a good hood, good right fender, a good mirror. I don't need 90%. I need 100%. There's a trunk. There's a left. So those are parts that I've picked before that we'll be able to use for this build, because a lot of this stuff is not going to repair up. So we'll go ahead and grab it off of here. As you'll see, most of this stuff is just junk. Like everything up here in the front, I put on it just so the car would look complete. But I have no idea, like, if some of this other stuff's even going to repair up. Might as well take the tail lights out. And I did say tail light, not tail lamp. There's a lot of people hating on me for that. Why do you say tail lamp? It's because where I was raised and the era in which I was raised, and I don't know, in the 1970s when you had a big light bulb that went in the car. Sometimes people referred to them as tail lamps, so it's stuck in my head. So sometimes I'll say tail lamp, sometimes I'll say tail light. It's the same thing. I mean, nobody's going to jail for announcing it wrong, and no cars were hurt in the fact that I said, you know, tail lamp instead of tail light. Hopefully nobody's protesting me because of that, you know. How dare him say things wrong. The value of the car, I'm not even going to look at the value, because it just, this car doesn't value out the way that the other one did. And that's the things that I hate about losing that build yesterday, because when I did the build yesterday, I looked at every step of the way and was like, okay, well, it's this much, we're gonna do this is how much we've increased the value of the body on it and all that. So All right, so we got a good right. We still don't have a good front. Got a good hood. This is going to be the car of many colors when I'm done with it. The door, and I should have a good mirror. Nope, no mirror. Got a good trunk. I'm not going to have a rear bumper. And I'm not going to have a right side door that's any good. And get out of here. Me too. Go on the way. Man, it is raining like something fierce here. Okay, so I don't have the front clip. So I need the nose, headlights, tail lights, passenger side door. And I think I've got a mirror though, so I don't need a right side mirror. Other than that, that's all the rest of the stuff I need. So let's go into the body shop. And we'll get the parts for this and get it done up, and then we'll paint it. And I think for the paint job on this one, I'm going to go for that red, like in Fast and Furious. I think that would be kind of cool. Right side. Okay, so we need the front nose. We need that. We need all the glass. So let's just buy glass as we come to it. So we need that. We need that. I need one of those. I need one of those. I need one of those. I need that. I need that. That. And that. That should give us everything we needed. So let's go back into assembly mode. Put our glass in. And we'll put that rear glass in. Tail lights are going in. Put another tail light in. She's looking good. Good looking car. It's I don't know. Alright. I have mixed emotions about this car. The wing and everything, I never have loved it. I saw the car and I just never have really loved this car. It just looks so awkward. Of course, the history on this car was Dodge made this car in '69 because they wanted to win NASCAR. They wanted to win the big NASCAR races. And with Talladega coming on the scene, they wanted to win Daytona. They wanted to win Talladega. So that is what this car was made for. And their previous version of the Charger wasn't as successful. So they made this one up. And in '69, they ran it in the inaugural Talladega 500. And they won. And which, of course, me being a Bama kid, that sticks with me, you know. That's another reason why I like the Charger Daytona versus the Super B, but you know. And then the next year, Plymouth said, well, we can't be outdone by Dodge. We got to make the Superbird. So that's where the Superbird came from. All right. So with everything on here, we're going to go ahead and bring up our colors so that we can get into a red. Now that car from Fast and Furious was more, it had a little bit of a purple in it, right? So it wasn't red, but it was red like a brandy type red. Let's see if I can find it. That's a little too purplish for me. Let's see. Yeah, that's definitely too purplish. Going to be a fine line between there and up a little bit more. I don't know if we can darken it a little bit. Saturation is going to have to stay all the way up. It's not red, but it's, oh, that might be closer right there. That's pretty close. All right, I'm going to paint it matte the first time because I've been having problems where if I paint it metallic right off the bat, when I go back outside with it, it doesn't look right. Yeah, that almost has that Fast and Furious look to it. So let's take her out and we'll put her by the front door. Nice. Oh yeah, that looks good. Now the only other thing that we could do to this is, since in Fast and Furious the light panels on this were cleared, they didn't have a color on these. They were actually cleared. So what we could do is we could come in and paint those a different color. I can't clear them in this. It's not like you can put plexi in here, but you do have the ability to paint individual parts in here. So what we could do is paint these like black to off it to a different color. So you see it just floating in the air right there. But just to give it that different look, maybe we go black or gray with it. Maybe we can get it up to like a gray. Let's just go black with it. We'll just go full black on it. And instead of being metallic, we'll make it a matte finish on it as well. So let me just set so it'll be easier to copy for the other one. We'll go with that. And we'll do the other one as well. A nice little, I mean, this part of it, I see the benefit to being able to paint a part to do something. And I'll show you when I show you the finished version of the original car that I did. It also, I took a little liberty on it, and you'll see that as well. So, all right, now we go put the headlights back in. Because the poly they used in Fast and Furious, now, why is this... It looks matte now. It doesn't look... metallic. It looks like a flat paint job all of a sudden. Let's paint it one more time. Now when I come in here, it looks metallic. Go figure, right? Set current, metallic. Paint the car. Now the liveries on this look terrible. That's the reason I'm not using the livery. The stripes are okay, but they're in red. This is disgusting, and this is hideous. So that's the reason we're not using any of the paint schemes they provide. Move this out to the door. There we go. The lighting is better over at the door. So I do that every time. I try to get out of here and close the door behind me, and I push myself right back into the paint booth. Silly. Yeah, but if anyways, in Fast and Furious, the covers for the headlights, which you would actually see the headlights through them, they were sort of a smoked gray, like charcoal thing. So we'll go with that there. Boom. All right, so we need to take our license plates off, and we need to... There we go. Take the interior out. There's a bench that goes in here too. Alright, so I keep doing that. I hate the fact that the escape key isn't put on getting out of the menu. Alright, so I need wheel 18. And again, you can put any wheel in there you want. Seat 9. Leather B, and wheel 18. I am not going to put seat I'm not going to put that brown in there. I don't think it looks as good. So, but we will put seat 9 in there, and steering wheel 18. So let's go into the store, and we're going to the leather shop. So seat 9. Go ahead and hit that. That was the leather B. I really didn't like it in the car. I like the fabric designs. Those are cool, but I don't think that would be for a sporty car. I don't think that would be as cool for that particular car. I'm just going to go with the gray. I'll buy 2 of those. Now, if I do a Tempest, or is it Magnum? There we go. There is a bench for the Magnum in the gray leather as well. We'll get that, and then we're going to get wheel 18. Buy that. Yep. And then while I'm in the menu, might as well go buy a couple of license plates so we can get that out of the way. And there we go. All right, so there we go. I know the game is hesitating on me. Go into assembly mode. Let's put our seats in. There I go again doing it. Go to normal mode, close that up. I think the gray looks better with the gray interior. And on the back, we go into assembly mode, put a license plate in. There we go. And then we'll come and put the one on the front. So everything is done. Now, actually, technically where I live, we don't have front license plates. They're vanity plates on the front, so. But there it is. There is our Fast and Furious Dodge Charger Daytona build. It's a pretty good looking car. Now I'm gonna go upstairs real quick. Let's go to the parking garage. Let me find where I've got it stored at. I believe it's on level 1. There it is. I wish you could click on it and pull it just from going to the door here. But you can't. All right, so here we are with both of them down here, and this is the original car, the original barn find that I did, and I painted it up since it is a, you know, in my mind, a Dodge Charger Daytona. A lot of them in that period in '69 when they came out were orange, you know, and then you had the racing versions of them, of course, were painted however. But just for fun, using the paint too, I had used the parts to paint the nose and the light covers here to make it look like it had like a bra or something on the front of it. I just wanted to do something different with the paint on it. And then we have our Fast and Furious one. Now the value on this car finished up $55,635. Now it's showing there's one part not right on it, and I don't know what that would be. What part I might have missed. Only way to find out is to take it for a drive, but that would be something in the engine. Let's see if we take it out. Let's see if it finds something. Let's go to the... I don't see the bonus track on here yet, so let's go to the test track, and we'll take a... which Magnum is it going to give me? I think this one will be the one. The leaf spring plate is missing. Really? Y'all let me forget to put that on there? How about that? So last night's group in the live stream let me down. That one I didn't miss a single part on. I actually got it 100% right off the bat. The leaf springs, they are like my... Alright, so I need 2 springs or 2 U-bolts and a plate. Leaf springs, they are my kryptonite. I always mess them up. And that would be where the part is that I'm missing. Alright, so come on, game. Let me actually do some stuff. There we go. Put that in place. There we go. Not something I would miss in real life. Not gonna happen, you know. But anyways, so there we go. There's our build. That should be 100% now. Boom. Yep, 100%. $62,193 on that one. And this one over here came out at with a 90% build. Something's missing on it. Well, I thought I got it 100%. It drives. What would be missing on that? Oh, now that's going to drive me nuts because I've driven this one. So I'm a little bit short on the money on this one. This one actually came out better than this one did. I don't know. I have to mess around and find it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the build. And like I said, I hope you weren't too offended by the fact that I had to do a different car to finish it up. But again, the build is the build. It's the same mechanics that you go through each time, even though the car looks a little bit different. But there we have two separate Dodge Charger Daytonas. And they look good. And if you're a Superbird fan, well, there's two Plymouth Superbirds. You be the judge on it. Anyways, leave your comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button for me. Also, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks to all the new subs that pushed us up over 30,000 subscribers. We will be giving away some copies of the game beginning this weekend as our 30,000 subscriber appreciation show this weekend. And I will announce more of that on Twitter. So if you haven't followed me on Twitter, make sure you follow me there. The reason I drug Twitter out is because I make sure I say Twitter, not Twitch. But anyways, yeah, thanks guys. I do appreciate it. And I'm glad you're enjoying the series, and we'll continue on. Put your suggestions for what we should build. Somebody said build a car from the ground up. I'm not a modder. I do not claim to be a modder, so I don't really make cars. I just drive cars and I have fun with them. So I'm not going to be the guy that goes out and designs a whole new car. I'm going to wait for some of the modders to do that because they're going to do a much better job with it than I am. And yeah, so I look forward to all that. But anyways, thank you so much. Take care. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I will see you back here in the garage a little bit later on this week. Bye-bye.